Let's now move on to our final main topic today. And our final main topic today is sent in to us from William Stutts Jr., who writes, Benioff and Weiss may not be as heavily involved in their own trilogy as we originally thought. The Hollywood Reporter says that Benioff and Weiss are currently writing a treatment for their new Star Wars trilogy. They claim that Benioff and Weiss are only committed to writing at least one of the films. If the Hollywood Reporter's report is true, it suggests that Benioff and Weiss' pact with Netflix might take up a hefty chunk of their time. What are your thoughts? All right, thanks a lot for sending in that question, man. And just to be clear, here's what is specifically is being written in the report right now, because we all know Benioff and Weiss, the guys who ran Game of Thrones, made it probably the most popular and pop culturally buzzed about television show probably in television history. They're doing a series of Star Wars films. This is the report that's coming out right now. This is from Cinema Blend. Sources say that the Thrones pair is writing a treatment for a Star Wars trilogy and is committed to penning at least one of the films. The original deal was to write all three. It's unclear if the duo, who also have another feature for Fox Disney carved out, will do more than just write for Star Wars. Still, a person familiar with the Netflix deal says the streamer was briefed on their Star Wars schedule and isn't worried. It's not going to be 10 years until Netflix sees their first output, adding that Benioff and Weiss have a lot of ambition. Okay, it's not going to be 10 years until Netflix sees their first output, and that Benioff and Weiss have a lot of ambition. All right, so there's a couple of things here to keep in mind. One of the big pieces of speculation going around right now online is that, the reason they may not write all three is because now they've got this Netflix deal. Remember, they had their Star Wars deal first. You know, if you make a contract with me, okay, let's put this into context. If you have a contract with me that I will pay you $500 and you, between the months of August and November, will paint the interior of my house, right? And you and I come to a deal and we sign a contract, $500 to paint the interior of my house within the time frame of August to November, right? You can't then come to me and go, oh, hey, I just signed another contract with your next door neighbor, and now I don't have time to do the stuff I said I would do for you. Sorry, that's not how contracts work. That's not how contracts work. So it's not like this whole idea of like, oh, wait, we just got this Netflix deal. Oh, sorry, Disney, we don't have time now to write your thing. We got this other obligation. That's not how contracts work. That's why I think it was really important that in the article it points out that Netflix isn't worried about it because they knew the details of the Star Wars deal and, you know, they don't have to worry about it. So they're totally comfortable with it. They know they got to get their Star Wars stuff done first, right? So the notion that, well, if they don't write all three, it's because they don't have time because of the Netflix deal. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. So don't worry about that. The most important thing here is this, is that they are writing basically the story for all three movies. When you're writing a treatment for the trilogy, that means you are plotting out the story for all three movies, right? You're saying this is what happens in this movie, this is then what's going to happen in the second movie, and this is what's going to happen in the third movie. Now, maybe or maybe not, you write the full script around that treatment. Maybe for one or two of those films, you get another screenwriter to take your, say, 15-page treatment and the outline of all the important things that need to happen. Here's what the story's about. Here's who the characters are. This is what needs to happen in the movie. And they get another screenwriter to come in and then flesh that out and write it into a screenplay. Maybe yes, maybe no. The key thing here is that Benioff and Weiss are charting the story for the three films. And remember, the news right now is not saying that they are not going to be writing movies 2 and 3. It's saying that they're committed to at least writing one of them. They're writing the story for all three, which is the most important part, in my opinion. But then right now they're committed to then fleshing out the full script for one, and maybe they'll do the second one, maybe they'll do the third one, maybe they won't. But the key thing here is that they are the ones coming up with the structure of the movie, the story, the characters, the plot, and writing the treatments, and then they'll have other screenwriters come in and flesh it out. That's key. I mean, George Lucas has done that with his Star Wars movies. So, I mean, this isn't anything new. And so if they don't end up doing the full screenplay for the other two films, that doesn't mean it's not their movie. It pretty much is. They're probably going to be producers on these movies as well. And if they don't write those scripts themselves, it won't be because they don't have time because of the Netflix deal. So honestly, I feel like this story is kind of much ado about nothing at this point. It really does feel like that. Like, Disney and Lucasfilm knew these guys would have other work to do as well. Netflix, when they signed their $250 million deal. How would you like to be Benioff and Weiss right now? You're coming off of the most pop culturally relevant show of all time. You have Disney offering you $150 million to come and make shows for Disney Plus. You have Comcast NBC offering you over $100 million to come and make shows for their things. And then you have Netflix comes along and makes you a $250 million offer for a 5-year deal to make shows for them. You got to be feeling pretty good right now if you're Benioff and Weiss when all the major studios all think you're the hottest thing on the block right now. That's a pretty good place to be in. Whether you like them or not is irrelevant. Whether I like them or not is irrelevant. Fact is, every single studio in town thinks they're the best, and they're offering them these ridiculous 9-figure deals to come and make content. But the important part here is that, again, Netflix knew. Netflix knew they had this pre-existing obligation to Star Wars, and they signed them to the deal anyway, knowing that they'll just get to their stuff when it's time. They'll just get to their stuff when it's time. So again, I just think the story is much ado about nothing at this point, but we'll have to wait and see. Question is, what do you think about all this? Do you think, like me, that this is really not a big deal one way or the other? Or do you think this is actually quite significant? Jump down to the comments section below and let me know what you guys think. All right.